Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's live trading action video. My name is Gareth Soloway. Today's date is Friday, December 19th, 2014. Well, again, folks, I want to follow up on oil because oil is obviously the major thing in the news right now in regards to the markets with Russia and so forth going on. And what I'm looking at here is a change in character potentially on the oil front today, which again, I've been looking for that signal to confirm my viewpoint that a bottom has been in. And I've said that really over the last 1 week here that we should have a short-term bottom. And if you go back, so far that call has been correct. If you go back earlier this week, we made this gap down low and reversed. And again, I thought that that was most likely the bottom. We saw a huge amount of volume over here as well on Wednesday, which also signaled to me, even though we reversed late in the day, that most likely the volume indicators were telling us a bottom was in. Now, let me go over the reasoning here because I think this is very important. All right, so one thing that caught my eye earlier this week was that we were rallying sharply higher early in the day, and then we were fading off of those highs. And again, you could see that most clearly on Wednesday with a gap down, huge rally up, and then we gave most of that gain back. And even yesterday, we gapped up, and we gave it back and went lower, and we retested a beautiful, by the way, double bottom right there, which did hold. That did hold, and I think that's important to recognize. So, again, one thing that I caught my eye about today's action is that notice how the high of the day was made early in the day here, and even on the gap up yesterday. So basically within the first hour or two of the trading day, the high was made, and then you made lower highs after that. Here's a high, lower high. Here's a move up, and you made a lower high, and then again, same thing here, high, lower high on Thursday. The difference with today's action is that you opened here, which was a little bit of a gap up, began to sell off, and then you came up and made a higher high here. All right, then you pulled back and made a higher high. Now you're consolidating again. At this point, you're above the moving averages on the 10-minute chart. So again, there is a change in character here today that we're seeing. I want to see where the USO closes, where spot crude closes today, and then once we see that, I want to see follow through on Monday. If you get follow through on Monday, then I think you have a bottom until probably early to mid-January in oil, at least, maybe even further. And I do think, again, if we're talking about targets potentially here, which I've mentioned before, if you zoom out on the charts, I think it's a no-brainer. This is going to be first resistance right here, which I think will blow through. I think once this thing gets rolling, the amount of short covering will blow this out of the water, and you'll see this go much, much higher. The big levels are going to come in when you get north of kind of the $24 range. I do think that there's a fair amount of resistance kind of right in here, a little bit of a resistance around 23.75, and then more resistance right here at 24.95, and then the big level again is going to be right here, huge level at 26.32, and ultimately gap fill at about $28 per share. So again, this first resistance is no big deal. This one, you might bounce off of it for a day or so, but you should blow through, assuming we have a bottom in oil, which we need to confirm on Monday. And again, following that, we want to see this resistance in this area around the $24 level is your next stop. All right, there's some minor levels here, but there won't be very significant. Really, this level is going to be the big one around the $24 level, and then these subsequent levels following will be your resistance points. But again, folks, please notice the change in character today. I do believe that that is a significant shift. And again, especially the fact that you had such a weak day in oil yesterday retesting the lows, the fact that they didn't take out the low here, to me, tells me that there's enough buyers in this market to continue to kind of keep it sound and keep it potentially to the upside. So again, folks, this is bottom line analysis of the USO of oil. And again, this is how I'm trading it. For those of you that are in the research center here at InTheMoneyStocks.com, you know how we're positioned. Ultimately, if you're in the options alerts as well, and this ultimately should, if we see follow through on Monday with this change of character today, be a multi-week, maybe multi-month bottom in oil. So many bears out there kind of confirm that viewpoint. I still think eventually we're going to go into the 40 range, but I think literally it could be mid to late January, maybe even February before we do that. All right, folks, come join us here at InTheMoneyStocks.com, and take care. Have a great weekend.